Okay, great. Well, welcome to the session on web application technologies. My name is Bob Bunge. I'm an instructor at North Seattle College, and I'm just here to show you some really good classes to get started with if you want to go into IT. And with no further ado, let me do a screen share that has a variety of images and links that I hope will be interesting to you. If you do have questions at any time, just unmute yourself and shout them out, or go ahead and paste your questions in the chat. We'll circle back on those when we get a chance. Okay, so screen share coming up. Here we go. Slideshow engage. Right, so the name of the program, Web Application Technologies. Now, this first screen is a complicated kind of flowchart diagram of the different pathways in information technology at Seattle colleges. Let me just cut it down to a little bit of a simpler idea. The things generally on your right that are more highlighted in yellow or orange are programming courses. So those are leading to application development. Web application technologies is just 4 classes, 20 credits. You can do it in just under 2 quarters, and it qualifies you for some entry-level positions. But if you're serious about going into application development, you probably want to think bigger than that. So after web application technologies, you'll want to go on to perhaps an associate degree in application development, which is a 2-year degree, or better yet, it's off this chart, but we have it. We have a bachelor's degree in application development also at North Seattle College. And if you'd like to hear more about that bachelor's degree, I'd invite you to go to breakout room 1 in the second session, because my colleague Steve Balo of the bachelor's in application development will be talking about the bachelor's degree there. So he's really talking more about the end of the road on the application pathway. I'm talking very much about the beginning of the road. Like, how do you get started when you've never really done programming? I mean, how do you begin with any of this? Right now, while we're on the same slide, we do have other IT pathways. The one in the blue is very electronics centric. So if you want something about hardware, if you want something about circuits, if you want something about robotics and so forth, the degrees and courses on the left are what you should be looking into. And the things more or less in the middle are networking and system administration pathways. If you think that managing networks and servers is more your style, then those are courses that you want to look into. Now, I'm prepared to accept questions on all of that, but again, our main presentation today is going to be on the application side of this. Right, so here's a link to our program, North Seattle College website. If you're going through my demonstration website, we've got a hot link on that demo website, so you can click out to the school site and read more about the certificate program. So yeah, like I said, the web application technologies, it's 4 classes, a grand total of 20 credits. So a full-time load at community college level is considered 15 credits per quarter. So you can't finish web application technologies all in a single quarter, but you can easily finish it in 2 quarters. Or you can take longer if you want to. We offer all of these classes all of the time, so you can start whenever you want to, finish when you want to, stop out in the middle if you want to. It's all fine. Okay, now on the question of what kind of jobs are available for people that take this. I'm going to paste these links into the chat, so if you want to click on any of this and take a look, be my guest. One thing I recommend for any student going into information technology is go out to job boards like these and just look at the job descriptions, look at what they want you to know how to do to get the job, and then look at how much they're paying for you to get the job. All right, so let me just pause for a moment here before I put more information out there. Does anybody have any questions or reactions so far about the web application technologies or any of the IT pathways at North? Okay, then let me go ahead and move forward. And I've got a little activity for you in a minute. So hopefully we'll get there. All right, there we go. Right. Speaking of activity, if you read around that demo website that I put up there, there's a lot of information. Like one of the classes is about networking, and it tells you a whole lot about how your internet connection gets you to websites. So one of the images I put in that website was something about how fast your internet connection is. So if you're curious, you might want to try this link and see how fast your internet connection is right now. You can like, you don't have to put your name on it in the chat or whatever, but you can just, I just be curious. What are some speeds people are getting? A couple of the classes are about web design. So I've got some links here to some web fonts, and I've got some links here to some web colors. And I would invite you to go explore those websites and tell us all what fonts you like the most, and which colors are the ones that appeal to you the most. Okay, so let me paste those links in the chat also. There we go. All right, so let me take a minute and see if I've got anything in the chat. Okay, so far it looks, okay, so yeah, it looks like just my stuff in there right now. Oh, you know what? I've been pasting in the chat just to one person. I'm just so sorry about that. So I'm going to fix up my chat paste. I'm going to paste everything to everybody now. So yeah, Zoom is a problem, and making Zoom mistakes is pretty much what I do for a living nowadays. So anyway, there's the demo website for everybody to go to, and that message did go out to everybody. Here are some job links, and I'm going to copy those again and be sure this message is really going to everybody this time. And then I'm going to follow up with the activity links and make sure these are going to everyone. And there they are. I invite you to click on all of that stuff. Okay, while you're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and click on one of these links also, and I'm going to screen share from the demo website and talk a little bit about what went into this. So first of all, I got to get back onto a screen share. Will. All right, there we go. So in making this website, I wanted to use all of the techniques we learned in these 4 classes to make the website. So I just did, it's not a great website, it's just kind of simplistic, but I just wanted to demonstrate to you the kind of things you can do with the skills you learn in our classes. So for example, in the web authoring class, you learn how to pick different fonts and styles for your web page. So, you know, on the activities, I gave you a link to different font choices. So go explore some fonts that you think are particularly interesting. Um, this web authoring class is also about how to lay out a web page, for example, using tables to line things up nice. Or by the end of the class, you'll be learning how to format web pages properly, which is something I didn't necessarily do on this demo, but I just want to point out we do have a class for that. Okay, a class that I teach is this one, Intro to Programming, where we learn about JavaScript. And the nice thing about JavaScript is you can make your websites interactive. So I'm just clicking on things here, and messing around with it. Changing the font and so forth. We've also got a panel so you can pick your own color, put it in there. Mess around any way you want to. So yeah, I really enjoy teaching the JavaScript class because we write kind of, some online games, we write online calculators. I mean, we do a lot of interactive stuff. And this is just a very beginning class. On the topic about like how fast is your internet connection, the IT 120 class is all about learning how networks work. So I've got a few things here about network connections. So when I did this page, I had a test. I was getting like 38 megabits per second. I'm going to rerun that live test right now and see what my connection is right now. My son is actually an application developer, and he just moved out of the house and got his own apartment. And he's installing gigabit internet. He just installed it last weekend. So 40 meg is okay, but he would be insulted by 40 meg. His speed is closer to 1,000 megabits right now. All right, so that kind of shows you some of the types of information available on that website. Does anybody have any questions or reactions? So Matthew's saying that lobster font. Okay, I don't know if I've ever seen lobster, so I'm going to have to go check that out. See, I learned something today. That's cool. I love it. Lobster font. Okay, that's a Google font. Oh, there it is. All right, so let's screen share that one. There you go, folks. Lobster font. Pretty cool. I like it. See what else we got in the chat here. Unfortunately, I can't read the chat very well and screen share at the same time, so it's got to be kind of a back and forth thing. All right, and Matthew's got a hex color. I don't know if you know, but the hex numbers here stand for the amount of colors red, green, and blue. So the first two is the amount of red, the middle two is the amount of green, and the last two is the amount of blue. So when you have 0, 0 in a color, that means you have absolutely none of it. So this color has no red. When you have FF in a color, that means the maximum of it. So it's maximum blue, 0 red, and a large amount of green. So I would guess that's blue greenish color just by looking at the code. And now what I'm going to do is paste it into a web browser someplace and see if, nah, that didn't copy paste. So I'm going to go look it up real fast. If any of you guys have questions about anything, you can go ahead and unmute yourself and just shout out or put them in the chat. Be my guest. Ah, there we go. So I guess that was sort of blue with some green in it. Let's take a look at the screen share and see how good I am at guessing stuff just by reading the hex code. There you go. That's Matthew's favorite color, 00BFF. F. Okay, also known as deep sky blue. 0% red, 74.9% green, and 100% blue. Quick question. You know what you would get if you had 100% of everything? Does anybody know? That would be like the color that's all Fs. Yeah, with the four. So, my question for Matthew. Serious. Yeah, good guess, everybody. You'd think black if you crank up all the colors. Actually, the way the system works, maximum intensity of all the colors is white. Yes, Matthew Kearney, white. All Fs is white. So white is the combo of every color maxed out. So in order to get different shades other than white, you're actually subtracting things. So in order to get that blue color that Matthew favors, what we did is we turned off the red and we diminished the green a little bit. That gives you that kind of deep sky blue. So yeah, if you want black, you have to turn off all the colors. So black is all zeros. Okay, so Matthew also asked the question on the fourth course certificate, would you be qualified for all three of those jobs? Yeah, and the answer is yeah, pretty much. You know, I mean, job search is a complicated thing because it depends on a lot of things, right? I mean, if you have other experience working in other jobs, that's good. I mean, your grades matter, you know, luck matters. Also, if you know someone who knows someone, that can be very good. Sometimes it's just being in the right place at the right time. But I would encourage my students to apply for jobs almost from the minute they get into school and just see if they get anything. Like, let's take a look at this posting from Glassdoor here. Right now, understand this is entry level, right? 50,000. That's kind of the low end of an IT job. I guess I have to sign in. Ah, hopefully, it's going to let me show this. So this is a web application technology right now. The way that, I'm getting out of here. The way that this website is set up with all these pop-ups and everything, that's kind of a web application technology in and of itself. Let me try a different one here. Let's try a web designer. Now, realistically, with web designer, I'd recommend that you take more than just the 4 credits in web application technologies. Seattle Central has a full program in web design. So if you're really passionate about, you know, color schemes and layout and user experience and all that type of thing, I'd recommend that you look hard at what they're offering at Central. But if you look at some of the things they want you to know here, for example, this front end programming, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, we absolutely teach that in web application technologies. We don't teach anything really with Photoshop or Sketch or any of the artistic things. So again, Seattle Central has more of that. But again, when you look at the average salaries for this, you know, you start in the 30s, you know, 30 to 50 range, and then it goes up from there. Now, if you go on to application developer with the associates or even the bachelor's degree, you can easily be looking at salaries over $100,000. And I don't mean with a whole lot of experience either. take a look at web application tester, because that's another great job for entry-level people. Yeah, right there, average pay scale, $74,000 a year. So yeah, and these are jobs that are not terribly unrealistic. I'm sorry the Glassdoor thing didn't come up, but help desk is a great one for entry-level people. Let's just do a quick search here. Help desk Seattle. Enough. Well, if you're really curious about IT careers, I think it would be great for you to do exactly what I'm doing right now, which is mainly just click around on these websites and take a look at what they got. Right. So, yeah. Um, yeah, to be a have it, that's pretty good. Service desk analyst, nice little salary there at the University of Washington. By the way, several of my students have graduated from North Seattle College and gotten jobs in IT at the University of Washington. So that's a realistic thing. Okay, Matthew already has a bachelor's degree in marketing and business administration. Well, that's fabulous, Matthew. Um, here's what I would recommend, okay? It's important that you have one college degree. So if you have zero college degrees, definitely get an associate's, and if possible, go for a bachelor's. If you already have a college degree, I would prefer that you focus on technology certificates. So for example, yeah, Matthew, with your bachelor's already in marketing and business administration, the 20 credit certificate in web application technologies would be a perfect move for you to make, because you'd be adding some IT skills on top of your existing skill set in marketing and business administration. Um, here's the thing. There's tons of technology companies in the Seattle area: Amazon, Microsoft, F5, Disney Interactive, um, Chef. I mean, there's a million of them. Expedia. I can hardly keep track. Not all of their employees are purely technical people. They have a ton of people also in business positions like marketing or management or budget or human relations, or you name it. And sometimes the good way to get jobs in those companies is to know some business and some technology. So if you have a lot of business already and you add some technology to it, that makes you an excellent candidate to go to work for any of those companies. Um, so thank you for asking that. If anybody else has any questions like that, go ahead and feel free. So, I mean, if you're just still in high school, I think you need to be thinking about like all the way to a bachelor's degree is a great plan. But yeah, and by the way, Matthew, and anybody else who's in Matthew's situation, an awful lot of my students are adult career changers. I mean, I was an adult career changers in my 40s. I got my master's degree in application development after having previous degrees and other things, because I wanted to change my career. That was quite a few years ago, but it worked out quite nicely. Thank you. And yeah, many of my students are not straight out of high school. Some of them are. So we can accommodate you either way you go on that. I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go back to that one slide. Yeah, let me just screen share that one real fast. There we go. Now let me blow that up bigger. So yeah, it's a little hard to read this, but I'm just gonna kind of signal to you like over on the southeast corner here. That's our web application technology certificate for 20 credits. Okay, that's perfect for students that are transitioning. Now, another exciting certificate is just brand new this week. that we haven't had time to put on this chart yet. It's a new certificate sponsored by T-Mobile, which is called Full Stack Developer. And the Full Stack Developer is about 58 credits, which means you can do it in 4 quarters. So Matthew, for someone like you, Full Stack Developer would be amazing. So it's way faster than getting a bachelor's degree, which is a 4-year thing. Full Stack Developer is a 4-quarter thing. And you would very definitely qualify for software development roles if you took Full Stack Developer. Then for those of you without college degrees, the biggest difference between something like Full Stack Developer and our associate's degree in application development is with the associate's degree, you're also going to add 30 credits of English, history, math, science, and that type of thing. So for someone with a bachelor's degree already, you don't really want to repeat the English, history, math, science, and so on. So just stick with the certificates. But if you're brand new to college, go ahead and do the college level English, history, math, science, and so forth, and get those degrees, because employers definitely prefer applicants who have a college degree. There's no doubt about that. So I see there's something else in the chat, so let me just check that out real fast and talk about what a full stack developer does. Yeah, sure. Actually, if you go through the Web Application Technologies demo website, that is a full stack development. So the full stack is considered front end, middle tier, and back end. The front end is the web design, like the JavaScript and the HTML. The back end is the database, like our SQL course. And then the middle tier is the connective language in the middle of that database and the front end. And that would be a language like JavaScript or Python or PHP. To write this demo for this presentation, I wrote a little PHP yesterday. Nothing major, but just enough to connect the database to the website. All right, now iBest, let me speak about that. The iBest is, it's basically adult basic education, so nobody's required to take iBest. What iBest is for is people who had a hard time graduating from college. They're having academic challenges around math or English. They need extra study skills support. They may need extra financial support just to stay in school. Okay, so if you've already got a bachelor's degree, I'm thinking iBest is probably not your thing. Okay, but where iBest helps a lot is for non-traditional students. I mean, let's look at it this way, okay? I have multiple college degrees and I've always been strong in school. My mother was a teacher. My whole family has been part of the education system forever. So for me, school is not the hardest thing in the world. It's just kind of what I do. Now, my son, growing up in that family, did very well in high school, and he got a bachelor's degree, and he's now working as an application developer, and he's doing amazingly well at the age of 26. So good for him. So iBest wouldn't be a great fit for somebody like that because he was kind of like born to do school. But look all over Seattle and the surrounding areas. There's thousands of students that didn't grow up in a household where mom and dad worked for the college system. Maybe school didn't come naturally to them. Maybe money has been short. Maybe they never really thought of themselves as having a chance to go to college. And this whole college thing is brand new. They're not hearing stories around the dinner table about how to do well in college. Well, iBest is excellent for adding an extra layer of support to kind of open the door for everybody to go to college, even if you never saw yourself going there, even if you're wondering what it's all about. So, I mean, if you're just in high school and thinking about college, but not sure you can handle the classes, not sure you can handle the finances, definitely check out iBest because it might be the thing that gets you in the door. Okay, these are fantastic questions. I see we're just 1 minute short of 4 o'clock when I believe we're supposed to end. And it looks like we're getting kicked out now. So thank you so much for joining me in this session today. And let me just paste my email in the chat. And if you have any additional questions for me, just see me on this email. So talk to you all later.